Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, I'm going to be taking you guys through the AFL 2024 round 16 to 23 fixture as that has been revealed today. There are some very interesting primetime games, there's some huge games in this fixture and some interesting omissions as well from some primetime games. I'm just going to take you through each round and each matchup. Starting with round 16, the Friday night game for this round is Brisbane versus Melbourne at the Gabba. Two Saturday afternoon games, which the first is North Melbourne versus Western Bulldogs at Marvel, and then Sydney versus Fremantle at the SCG. In the twilight is going to be Gold Coast and Collingwood up on the Gold Coast. The Crows and the Giants in Saturday night prime time, but the prime time Channel 7 game for that round will be Geelong and Essendon at the MCG. Essendon were one of the big winners of the fixture. Geelong also picked up a few prime time games as well. St Kilda and Port Adelaide start Sunday off at Marvel Stadium. Richmond and Carlton will do battle in the Sunday Channel 7 slot. And then finishing the round in the West is West Coast and Hawthorn. To round 17 now. Collingwood and Essendon got the most Friday night games with 3 apiece. And this is one of them for each of them. They'll be playing on the Friday night. North Melbourne yet another Saturday afternoon game, this time against the Gold Coast Suns at Marvel. Port Adelaide also taking on the Western Bulldogs at the same time. In the twilight is going to be Geelong taking on Hawthorn at GMHBA. The prime time Saturday night game is going to be between the Giants and the Blues at NG Stadium, and then the other Saturday night game is going to be Fremantle and Richmond in the West. Sunday's footy action starts off with Melbourne and West Coast at the MCG, St Kilda and Sydney in the Sunday Channel 7 game, and then Brisbane and Adelaide to finish in the slightly earlier Sunday twilight time slot. Now to round 18, another Friday night game for Collingwood, this time taking on Geelong. North Melbourne yet another Saturday afternoon game, this time taking on the Sydney Swans at the SCG. Hawthorn and Fremantle do battle at the same time. The Western Bulldogs and Carlton in the Saturday twilight game at Marvel Stadium. That is a big Victorian clash, which there was going to be more of in this fixture. The Crows pick up their second Saturday night game against the Saints, but the big blockbuster one will be Melbourne vs Essendon at the MCG, another prime timer for Essendon and the Demons, who have both scored pretty well with this batch of fixtures. Gold Coast taking on Port Adelaide the first game on the Sunday. Richmond get another Sunday Channel 7 game, this time up against the Giants at the MCG. And then West Coast finish the round taking on Brisbane in the West. Round 19 sees the Crows and Bombers do battle at Marvel Stadium for the Friday night game, another one for the Bombers there. First game Saturday sees the Giants and the Suns do battle at NG Stadium, and the Saints and Eagles go head-to-head at Marvel at the same time. Another Victorian twilight game, this time between the Hawks and the Pies at the MCG. And 2 Saturday night games, the first one being Port Adelaide and Richmond at the Adelaide Oval, and the second one Geelong and the Western Bulldogs at GMHBA Stadium. Sunday's footy action for round 19 starts off with the Lions and the Swans, an interesting choice for the first game on the Sunday. Fremantle will host a Sunday Channel 7 game against Melbourne at Optus Stadium. Then the Blues and North Melbourne finish the round at Marvel. To round 20, the Blues have a short turnaround to play Port Adelaide Friday night at Marvel Stadium. North Melbourne yet another Saturday afternoon game, this time against Geelong, a standalone Saturday game at Blunston Arena. 2 twilight games this round, interestingly. The first one being Gold Coast taking on Brisbane in the Q Clash at People First Stadium, and then the Saints and the Bombers at Marvel. Interesting choice, they've gone for 2 twilight games, just a one afternoon game. Melbourne and the Giants do battle Saturday night at the MCG, and then in the West it is the derby between Fremantle and West Coast. Sunday starts off with Collingwood and Richmond, and then the Sunday Channel 7 game will be Sydney and the Doggies at the SCG, and the Crows again play in a slightly earlier Sunday game, this time taking on the Hawks at the Adelaide Oval. Round 21 sees an interesting Friday doubleheader. Normally this only occurs for the Mother's Day round in the round just gone, round 9. They've done another one here with the Western Bulldogs taking on Melbourne at Marvel, and then West Coast and Gold Coast doing battle in the West. So 2 Friday night games there. North Melbourne take on Richmond, first game Saturday at Marvel Stadium, and Geelong and the Crows at GMHBA in the twilight. This one's interesting, 2 big blockbuster Saturday night games here. The first one being Port Adelaide and Sydney at the Adelaide Oval, but of course a Channel 7 game for the round, being Collingwood and Carlton in the MCG. A rare Saturday night game for this one, and it's because there's 3 games at Marvel in round 21 that they had to fixture one on the Friday night, and then this game couldn't be. And then Sunday's footy action starts with the Giants and the Hawks at Manuka. The Sunday Channel 7 game is Essendon vs Fremantle at the MCG. And then to finish the round, it's the Saints and the Lions at Marvel Stadium. Round 22 sees the Swans and the Pies go head-to-head Friday night at the SCG. Another Friday night game for the Swans. And for the Pies, North Melbourne and West Coast is the first game Saturday afternoon at Blunston. So another Saturday Arvo game for North. And then Brisbane and the Giants do battle at the same time at the Gabba. Twilight is Fremantle versus Geelong at Optus Stadium. And then there's two Saturday night games. The first one being Essendon and Gold Coast at Marvel Stadium. And then the prime time being Melbourne and Port Adelaide at the MCG. Sunday footy starts off at the MCG with Carlton and Hawthorn. The Channel 7 game is Richmond and St Kilda at Marvel, an interesting choice for sure. And then finishes off another early Sunday finish at the Adelaide Oval, this time the Crows and the Doggies. And round 23, this is the final round that we've got revealed fixtures for. And it starts off with a bang, the rivalry of Essendon and Sydney on the Friday night at Marvel. And then the Saturday definitely looks interesting with Gold Coast and Melbourne and Giants and Fremantle both playing in the Saturday afternoon time slot. The grand final rematch at the place that happened, the MCG, in the twilight, which will be Collingwood and Brisbane. A Saturday night showdown with the prime time of the round Saturday night being St Kilda and Geelong at Marvel. The Doggies and North Melbourne start Sunday's footy before then Hawthorn and Richmond do battle in the Sunday Channel 7 time slot. Another interesting choice there. And West Coast versus Carlton finish the round in the West. And this one does look to be one of the more interesting rounds, in my opinion, from the fixture. And round 24, of course, is still unreleased at the moment with some very interesting matchups there. But they're only going to be announced a couple of weeks out from round 24 to ensure the best games are played at the best time. And it'll be interesting to see whether they do another non-overlap Sunday like they did in 2023. So there is a fixture on the wrap-up. I will just go back through and scroll through so then you guys can see all the games. But it is definitely very interesting. There's plenty of prime-time games, and there are definitely a few clubs which did miss out as well. There were some interesting choices made around which games go when, and it is back to trying to cram a few more games. And with, of course, no Thursday night footy, they are looking to bring more of that in next year, though. But no Thursday night footy, and there's definitely a few interesting choices that the AFL has made. But some of the big winners included Collingwood, Essendon, and Melbourne were a few of the clubs that were awarded. A couple of clubs that weren't so rewarded would have been like the Western Bulldogs and Richmond and Gold Coast, a few of those sides that didn't get rewarded as much. But anyway, though, it's going to be interesting to see how this fixture plays out close to the time about some of the games. I do think some of the choices are definitely interesting, but they are doing this to try and maximise the best games at the best times. But feel free to let me know what you think of the fixture. Feel free to let me know who you think wins and loses the fixture as well. But anyway, though, that's going to wrap up today's video. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that bell. See you guys in the next video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone. Flame footy.